Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. First, let me start with a confession. I am no AI expert. I'm just an environmentalist that cares deeply about decarbonizing our global energy system. Today, you have heard and you will hear from many brilliant entrepreneurs and scientists about how the wonders of AI will allow us to do things we can't yet do, making sense of trillions of data points, revealing connections in seconds that my brain can't fathom in a lifetime. But what if I told you that technology is not just in the future, on the distant horizon, but that it's already here, giving us the insight and tools we need to tackle the most pressing threat to our world, climate change. We can do it quickly and affordably, and most importantly, we can do it now. And Korea and other Pacific countries are key in this story. At the heart of this journey is a powerful climate pollutant that you may never have heard of, called methane. Methane is a powerful greenhouse gas. What do I mean by that? It is 84 times more powerful than carbon dioxide at trapping heat, and it is the second largest contributor to current warming by far. Alarmingly, over the next decade, methane emissions from our global economy will warm the planet more than all of the carbon dioxide from burned fossil fuels, even though methane only remains in the atmosphere for about a decade. For years, we underestimated methane's impact. For the last decade, my organization, Environmental Defense Fund, or EDF, has been researching the impact and scale of methane emissions. In spearheading the most comprehensive peer-reviewed research on this topic, we identified two main challenges. The first is that far more methane is being leaked into the atmosphere than anyone thought. Not just in the US, but almost everywhere we looked. The second is that without slashing methane, our climate goals remain elusive, even as we drastically cut CO2 emissions. Make no mistake, reducing CO2 is an imperative. CO2 is important because it can linger in the atmosphere for a very long time. And achieving net zero emissions by mid-century is absolutely essential to stabilize the climate to protect future generations. But it's not enough to focus on the distant future when climate impacts are hurting people today. So the gravity of the methane challenge is grave. But it is also a crucial opportunity, especially for the Asia-Pacific. Because methane is such a powerful pollutant, cutting methane is also the single fastest way to slow down warming now and avert the temperatures, wildfires, and storms we would otherwise see in the immediate future. The methane we emit comes from three main sources: energy operations, waste management, and agriculture. But the most efficient starting point? The oil and gas industry. In fact, the International Energy Agency, or IEA, says that around 75% of the industry's methane emissions can be eliminated using technologies widely available today. In addition, reducing methane emissions also saves valuable energy from being wasted, because much of the gas currently vented, flared, and leaked by operators can be economically captured and commercialized. According to a recent S&P Global study, methane abatement could profitably replace around 60% of Europe's annual pre-war gas imports from Russia. Fortunately, stopping methane leaks is fairly simple if we locate them. They often come from faulty equipment or deliberate releases. Fixing the problem can be as simple as tightening a valve or placing a gasket or adjusting an engine. Finding the leaks is the real challenge. Why? Because methane is both invisible and odorless and can leak virtually anywhere across the oil and gas supply chain. What's more, these very leaks can offset any near-term environmental benefits of using gas over coal. On top of that, few companies have actually been looking for leaks, not to mention quantify how much they release. That's a missed opportunity, because it's here where technology has greatly accelerated our options. We can now detect and quantify emissions more precisely with handheld devices, high-resolution cameras, or drones mounted on airplanes. There are even satellites that can detect methane from space. The next generation of these satellites will arrive next year with the launch of MethaneSat, developed by EDF. MethaneSat will not only detect emissions almost anywhere on Earth with unprecedented precision, but it will also allow us to identify those achieving reductions over time, providing a powerful tool to drive change and hold stakeholders accountable. With this data being open and free for all, we can now easily compare performance, whether it's between companies or countries, or even between production regions within those countries. This means that those countries importing gas, like Korea, can make much more educated choices about the gas that they're shopping for. Now, what does this mean for Korea and other Asia-Pacific nations? They are essential in the global climate equation. In fact, Asia's response to methane is pivotal in shaping the global capacity to achieve climate goals. Why are these countries so central? First, the reality is that even as we ramp up renewables, natural gas, specifically liquefied natural gas or LNG, is currently an essential part of the regional economy, particularly as countries shift away from coal. Today, Japan, South Korea, and China account for more than half of global LNG. The future points to Southeast Asia emerging as a major LNG hub in this transition. What makes this more significant is that many APAC countries have pledged to reduce their methane emissions as part of a global methane pledge. And as big buyers of LNG, this region wields significant power in the global gas market, which offers a unique opportunity to demand better methane management upstream from their LNG exporters. At the same time, all over the world, governments are pouring investments into clean energy solutions at unprecedented scales. In the pursuit for cleaner energy solutions, hydrogen, which you probably have heard of, is gaining significant traction in the region. Numerous countries are counting on hydrogen to power important parts of their economy, and billions of dollars are already being spent on R&D and supply chains. Hydrogen, it has indeed great potential to help us decarbonize sectors where renewable energy alone may still fall short. But there's a catch. There's no silver bullets in this game. Hydrogen emissions contribute to global warming too. And because hydrogen molecules are very tiny, they can slip through gaps and tiny flaws in seals and valves and pipelines during transport, just like methane. Adding to this challenge is that many countries plan to produce hydrogen from natural gas, which means the same methane challenge that I just told you about will exist throughout the hydrogen supply chain. In short, if hydrogen is to live up to its climate promise, addressing methane emissions is critical. As one of the largest LNG importers globally, Korea has a unique opportunity to excel in the global arena, leveraging its leadership position and established economic relationships and partners in Asia. Moreover, Korea's commitment to supporting emerging economies in their decarbonization efforts further enhances the potential to stand out. Methane mitigation is not an opportunity lost on leaders in this country. We are witnessing entities like Seoul National University working with partners worldwide, examining city-level emissions in Seoul and creating an inventory for the entire Korean peninsula. Top institutions in Korea are also developing the country's first methane detection satellites to improve data quality and inform climate policy. KOGAS and Japan's JERA, two of the world's largest LNG buyers, are working together to reduce methane emissions from the supply chain. A groundbreaking move. Last but not least, Korea has also joined hands with the EU to create a framework for verifying CO2, GHG emissions, and natural gas supply chain. This international and cost-cutting collaborative movement, we need more of that. The upcoming climate talks in November will serve as a global stock-taking, providing a country-by-country assessment of progress towards our climate goals. While there will be some positive news, it will also reveal that globally we are falling short urgently, and we urgently need to make good choices, leveraging what we already know today. As the urgency of the climate crisis has become undeniable, we stand at a critical crossroads. We are already seeing the costly and dangerous effects on economies around the world, from stronger storms, unpredictable winters, and scorching summers. Science tells us that we must drastically reduce climate pollution, that we can't stabilize the climate without cutting methane, and that Asia will have to play a critical role in addressing this challenge. We are not powerless. Thankfully, we already have the tools and technology at our disposal today to take targeted action on methane. Our path forward involves investing in infrastructure, optimizing supply chains, developing standards, and creating regional and global effective markets. Of course, solutions will look different across countries, companies, communities, and individuals. But achieving meaningful, lasting change hinges on this collective action and unwavering accountability. We can build up on Korea's existing knowledge, technology, and experience, but we must accelerate our efforts and scale up. To that end, we need robust policy and methane abatement targets that send clear signals to industry. Moreover, we need to think about how wealthier nations can aid those in this region lacking capacity for methane mitigation projects, especially as we anticipate groundbreaking data in 2024. Let me be clear. Methane is key to fighting the climate crisis now, and it is fundamentally not a technology problem. We have what we need, but our tools and information are only as effective as the systems and institutions that use and scale them. It will be up to all of us, from ordinary citizens to industry leaders to elected officials, to ensure that the technology we have developed is used effectively and with urgency to realize their most valuable potential, stabilizing the planet that we all depend on. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Mike Lim, who will be sharing his insights on the topic of, is climate tech investing at an inflection point. Thank you.